Everyone is upset at how EA now plans to monetize Apex Legends by reworking the Battle Pass system. And if you're living under a rock and you haven't seen the changes yet, don't worry, we'll go over that in a minute. Now, typically I don't do hot button issues or news and update type videos on this channel because I want the things that I talk about and the topics and the content in the video to be relevant for more than a week. I want somebody to be able to find my video in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, watch it, and have those ideas or that content or the discussion around things like gameplay, philosophy, weapon balance, whatever it be, and still find value in that video and still be relevant. But for this, we're going to make an exception because while this one small event is very upsetting, I think it explains or it's a symptom of a broader problem in the gaming industry. And I think that you as a player actually have quite a bit more control or responsibility in how these things come about than you might think. And by the way, trigger warning, because there's going to be quite a bit of hot takes in this video. This one's not for the weak-minded. So if you make it to the end of the video, congrats. You're one of the few with either a load of critical thinking skills or a really thick skin. Now, previously, the way that the Battle Pass has worked in Apex Legends and in most games is you buy the Battle Pass or you buy your first Battle Pass for about $10, and throughout the Battle Pass, you are rewarded with more Apex coins, meaning if you complete it, you should have enough to roll over into the next Battle Pass, meaning you never have to actually spend real money ever again. Now, it's getting reworked in Apex with two major changes that people are really upset about. And number one, you can no longer buy the Battle Pass with in-game currency. You actually have to spend dollars on it. Even if you completed the previous Battle Pass, you can no longer spend those Apex coins to get the next Battle Pass. And number two, instead of the Battle Pass being $10 or once per season, Apex has splits in their season, meaning there's a first half and the second half. So they've taken it and they've made it into two Battle Passes, one per split. So now if you want to get the Battle Pass for the full season, it's going to be $10 for the first half, $10 for the second half, $20 in total, and you can't use any in-game currency towards the Battle Pass. Now, I understand why people are upset. This is a very abrupt change, and it couldn't come at a worse time. The game is just in a really bad state, and it seems to not be getting any fixes or updates. But let me say this. If $10 or $20 is a deal breaker for you, if that's a lot of money to you, I don't mean this in a judgmental way. It's going to come across that way, but I don't mean it like that. If $10 or $20 is a problem for you, I really advise that you shouldn't be spending all of your time playing video games. You should be going to work, getting a job, working some more hours, because unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, and in this economy, $10 is almost nothing. Now, I get it if you're under 18 or you don't have the ability to get to a job if you're a kid, if you're 12 and it's your parents' credit card or something like that. I totally understand that. But for most working adults, if $10 to $20 is a deal breaker for you, I think you've got bigger problems than the Battle Pass in a video game. And also, let's not forget, the Battle Pass is not something that you're necessarily entitled to. It's a free-to-play game, and the Battle Pass is completely optional, it's completely cosmetic, and it doesn't actually affect the competitive integrity of the game. So you can play Apex completely for free, and you don't have to buy the Battle Pass. Now, this is where I'm going to start to get into some trouble with you guys because I'm going to get accused of defending a billion-dollar company, and I'm not. I think players need to take a little bit of responsibility because what did you think was going to happen? Let's go all the way back to the launch of Apex Legends in 2019. The game drops out of nowhere. It's free to play. Cool, great. Now they have this exclusive reward that's not really ever been in any video game. Maybe CSGO, you could argue. They have Wraith's Heirloom. It's the only one in the game, and the only way to get it is to open it with supply drops or Apex packs, loot boxes, whatever you want to call them. The only way to get it is to open loot boxes. Now, I actually don't really have that big of a problem with loot boxes, especially in free-to-play games. But if I'm forced to choose between loot boxes or engagement optimized or skill-based matchmaking, I'm choosing loot boxes every single time. But the problem with Apex is that they have the loot boxes and skill-based matchmaking, so that kind of sucks, and I get it. But going back to the Wraith Heirloom, how many people spent hundreds of dollars to get that heirloom? How many people opened supply drop after supply drop after supply drop trying to get that heirloom? How many streamers bought 500 packs just to get that heirloom? And that was the very start of Apex. Now, fast forward through all of the seasons that we've been through, how many collection events have we gone through that have had an extremely expensive heirloom that you could purchase at the end of it? How many people have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this game. All the while, Apex just continues to go downhill. I would probably say Apex has been in a pretty steady decline since maybe like season 12. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been some slight improvements along the way, but ultimately this game's just kind of been in a decline for a long time. People are unhappy with it. It's no longer a popular esport. I don't know anybody who's paying attention to ALGS, which is sad because it used to be awesome. So look at it from EA's perspective. They saw on their end, okay, we can continue to release bad updates. We can continue to have a lackluster game. We can continue to not fix things, and we can continue to ignore player feedback. We can continue to not talk with our community. And guess what? People are still going to play the game, and they're still going to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on cosmetics. And even better, what they've probably figured out is that if they do some marketing, drop a new season or a new event, they'll get people in, they'll come in, play the game, spend a bunch of money at first, and then they'll be like, oh, this game's not great, and they'll dip, which is a double win because they get your money, you play the game for a little bit, and then you jump off. And so that probably relieves a lot of server pressure, so they have no incentive to upgrade the servers. And so again, I'll go back to, what did you expect was going to happen if you keep supporting a game that ignores you, continues to be worse and worse, and you keep playing and spending money? So from EA's perspective, they're probably looking at this as a business decision and saying, okay, well, we're still making money, so these things are not important. We don't need to take care of them. And furthermore, they've probably figured out that the collection events and the new seasons and all the skins they put in the store, they've probably maxed out all the whales that they can get money from. And so now they're probably looking at the floor, the bottom, like who's spending the least, and they're saying, okay, how can we boost that up? How can we get, the people that spend the minimum to spend a little bit more? Hence, you have to buy the battle pass with money, not coins, and do it twice per season to get the full thing. So I think players need to realize and take some accountability for the fact that when you play a game consistently and you support it financially in its darkest times as it continues to decline, that signals to them that they don't need to fix anything, they don't need to change, and that they can continue doing exactly what they're doing. This isn't just a thing that applies to Apex. This applies to a variety of free-to-play games. Honestly, not even just free-to-play games. Call of Duty is a perfect example. Look at how much Call of Duty has gone downhill in the recent years. But why would they change anything? Because the games continue to get worse and people continue to buy them year after year, and they complain about them on YouTube, they complain about the games on Twitter, and it doesn't get any better, but you keep buying the games. And people keep spending ungodly amounts of money on microtransactions. At some level, you have to realize that you need to vote with your time and your dollar. I don't play games and I don't spend money on games that I don't like and I don't support. And now if you're like, well, Apex is the only game that I want to play, or Apex is the only game that my friends want to play, well then, one, you probably need new friends, and two, you need to branch out and try some other games. Or a third option, you could take a break, go work some extra hours, go learn some extra skills, start working out, go to the gym, do something different for a minute. It's gonna be okay. The idea that you're powerless as an individual is understandable, but also not completely true, because if everybody thinks that, oh, me not spending $10, $20, $30, or me not playing the game isn't going to have an impact, then nothing's ever going to change. Because at the end of the day, a video game is a business. And so if they look at their data, if they look at their revenue, if they look at their profit and loss statements, and they see that they're continuing to grow, they're not going to change anything. And so you have to decide that you want to stop playing the game, you don't want to support it any longer. And if this is your line in the sand, the change in the battle pass, I don't know what to tell you. If you or your friends spending hundreds of dollars on cosmetics and heirlooms along the way as the game continues to get worse, then you have to accept responsibility and acknowledge that you're part of the problem. 100% of Apex's money comes from microtransactions, and other companies, majority of their money comes from microtransactions. If you don't believe me and you want to see how much money a company like Activision Blizzard makes just from microtransactions alone, watch this video.